Imagine this. It's the dead of night on September 26, 2025, and somewhere in a control room buried under a mountain of data, alarms start blaring. A colossal burst of solar fury, a coronal mass ejection, a billion tons of superheated plasma erupts from our sun like a cosmic cannon shot. But this isn't just any flare. It slams dead center into a visitor that's been streaking through our solar system for months, an intruder from the stars called 3I/ATLAS. The odds of that hit? Astronomers are calling it 1 in a billion, a fluke that defies the math of the universe. Telescopes go dark in the glare, signals scramble, and for a heart-stopping moment, everyone wonders, did it just vaporize? Or did it react? This thing isn't your garden variety asteroid or comet. It's the third confirmed interstellar object to grace our skies, hurtling in at speeds that clock 137,000 miles per hour, fast enough to cross from New York to LA in under 2 minutes. Discovered just 3 months ago, it's already rewriting the rules of what we thought we knew about space. Governments are mumbling about routine tracking, but leaks are pouring out, military brass scrambling, oceans humming with strange signals, and whispers of maneuvers no rock should pull off. What if this isn't debris from some distant star? What if it's something built, something watching? Hang tight, because we're diving deep into the enigma that's got the world glancing nervously at the stars. By the time we're done, you'll question every shadow in the night sky. Let's rewind to where it all began, that quiet July morning in 2025, when the universe decided to drop an uninvited guest. Picture Hawaii's volcanic slopes, where the Atlas telescopes, NASA's frontline guards against skyfalling threats, sweep the heavens like digital sentinels. On July 1st, at 5:43 a.m. local time, one of those scopes catches a flicker. It's faint at first, a pixelated ghost in the constellation Ophiuchus, the serpent bearer streaking across the frame. The system tags it 11PL3Z, runs the calcs, and spits out numbers that make the on-duty tech's coffee go cold. Velocity, 60 kilometers per second. That's not orbiting, that's invading. Escape velocity from our sun is about 42 kilometers per second at that distance. This thing's blowing past it by a third, screaming from another stellar backyard. Confirmations flood in from Chile's Paranal Observatory and Europe's comet chasers. Within 48 hours, it's official. Interstellar object numero 3 after Oumuamua's weird tumble in 2017 and Borisov's gassy flyby in 2019. NASA dubs it a comet because, as it nears the inner solar system and heats up, it starts belching, outgassing water vapor and dust, the classic sign of icy leftovers waking from cryogenic sleep. Perihelion, its solar close shave is pegged for October 30th, swinging within 1.4 astronomical units, about 130 million miles out, far enough to wave hello without crashing the party, or so they said. But even in those first grainy images, something's off. The tail doesn't fan out gracefully behind, pushed by solar wind like every other comet in the textbook. No, this one's got an anti-tail, a stubborn glow pointing right at the sun, as if it's bucking the breeze on purpose. Ground-based spectra from the Very Large Telescope lighted up an eerie green, diatomic carbon, the stuff that makes comets look like holiday lights, but rarer than you'd expect for a fresh interloper. Amateurs worldwide dust off their backyard scopes, posting shaky videos to YouTube. Guys, it's glowing like it's alive. Forums buzz with early speculation. Is it fragmenting weirdly or venting in a way no natural body should? NASA's first presser is all smiles. A rare opportunity to study extrasolar chemistry. They beam about the Hubble and James Webb, queuing up observations, promising fresh insights into alien worlds. But dig into the raw data feeds, and you see the hesitation. Internal memos, leaked later on astronomy subreddits, show engineers scratching heads over the plume's structure. Not chaotic spew, but collimated jets, focused like exhaust from a thruster. One post from a pseudonymous ESO staffer reads, "This isn't Halley's, it's precise." Publicly, it's excitement. Privately, the first whispers of anomalous. And as July bleeds into August, those whispers grow, because the real showstopper is about to drop. How big is this beast really? Turns out not just big, bigger than anyone dared print. Fast forward to mid-September, when the first high-res thermal models hit the journals and jaws collectively drop. Early estimates floated a kilometer-wide nucleus. Think a small mountain, impressive but manageable, the kind of thing we could nudge with DART if it got frisky. Cute? Right? Wrong. Radar returns from Goldstone, and Webb's mid-IR stare-down revise it upward, minimum 5 kilometers across, with some models pushing 46 kilometers in diameter. That's not a rock, that's a rogue moonlet. Manhattan to Monaco in scale, depending on who you ask. Mass estimates: over 33 billion metric tons, trillions of kilograms of mystery material, making Oumuamua look like a pebble in comparison. To grasp the gut punch, rewind 66 million years. The Chicxulub impactor, Dino Killer Extraordinaire, was 10 to 15 kilometers wide. Atlas edges that if it's on the high end, and while its trajectory's a safe miss, slingshotting past Earth at 1.5 astronomical units in November, no one's laughing about what ifs. Orbital simulations run hot, a nudge, and we're talking global fireballs, mega tsunamis swallowing coasts, dust winters starving crops. But it's the internals that freak folks out. Public spectra show the usual comet cocktail: water ice, CO2, dust. Fine. Then the deep dives reveal voids. Radar pings bouncing funny, suggesting cavities where density should peak. Not random cracks from cosmic pinball, but structured, geometric repeats, like honeycomb or ribs in a vaulted hull. Leaks from a supposed JPL analyst hit 4-channel. Hollow sections, engineered symmetry. Not natural. NASA counters with porous ice matrix, common in rubble piles. But why the sudden clamp on raw data streams? Independent observers report throttled access to SOHO feeds, scopes glitching on Atlas locks, and the path hugging the ecliptic plane like it's GPS guided. Odds of random alignment 1 in 500. Space is 3D. Why the flatline precision? Conspiracy corners light up. It's a shell, a probe casing. Skeptics roll eyes, outgassing artifacts, but the math nags. If it's this hefty, why no gravitational wobbles on inner planets yet? Why the perfect aim for our neighborhood? Size alone flips the threat matrix from curiosity to caution, and as those billion-ton figures circulate, eyes turn to composition, because what it's made of, that's the spark that ignites the signal fire, turning a big rock into a potential beacon. Speaking of beacons, let's talk emissions. The stuff pouring out that's got SETI ears perked and doomsayers dialing bunkers. As Atlas warms toward perihelion, the plume erupts. Not just gas and grit, but a symphony of light. Ground arrays like Keck snag spectrograms showing infrared pulses. Structured bursts, repeating in patterns that echo prime numbers. 2, 3, 5, 7 intervals. The hypothetical handshake of intelligent hello. Coincidence? Maybe, if you're generous. But Webb's fine-tooth comb pulls weirder. Nickel emissions, clean and isolated. No iron tagalongs like in meteorites or stellar forges. That's factory-fresh alloy territory, the kind we smelt for engines and hulls, not cosmic brew. Analysts at first chalk it to excitation quirks. Solar UV zapping atoms funny, but the rhythm holds across observatories, syncing like a metronome. Then the ocean link drops like a depth charge. Navy hydrophones, those vast undersea ears from SOSUS arrays, repurposed post-Cold War for quakes and whales, start thumping. Ultra-low frequencies every 11.2 seconds, mirroring the IR beat to the millisecond. Space vacuum to saltwater echo, no medium in between. Reports, unverified, swirling on secure leaks to aviation weeklies, suggest resonance. Atlas pinging Earth's hydrosphere, like tuning a string across planets. Avi Loeb, the Oumuamua gadfly who's made a career of what-if tech, weighs in from Harvard, level 4 on the anomaly scale, beyond natural quirks into suggestive territory. Not screaming ET, but probing why dismiss the data when it fits the script. Online alchemists splice the pulses into audio, eerie drones that sound like warped whale song crossed with dial-up screech. NASA's playbook? Artifacts from plasma interference, natural jets. They point to the anti-tail as outgassing defiance, not defiance of physics. But why brief SpaceX on Starlink glitches? Frequencies jamming as Atlas nears. Elon Musk's vanished X post fuels it. Bigger than they're telling, and those tweaks, not wind. Screenshots seed mega threads. Communication confirmed. Forums fracture. Debunkers versus believers, with fan sims modeling signal decodes into binary hellos or resource scans. Deeper it goes, straight to the Pentagon's warren of worries. September 23, 2025, a memo ripples through classified channels, and the machine wakes. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, former Fox firebrand, now Trump's iron fist on security, issues the call. Every flag officer, from Army Greens to Space Force Blues, wheels into Quantico by the 30th. We're talking 800 souls, generals, admirals, the alphabet of command, the largest sync-up since the post-9/11 scrambles. Spin. Integrated Strategy Symposium. The subtext per drips to defense blogs. Atlas, end of discussion. Those synced pulses, they tripped existential tripwires. Not rocks falling, but unknown signaling. Protocols dust off. Cold War ghosts labeled non-terrestrial contact. Blending NASA handoffs with NORAD red alerts. Why the brass expo now? Weeks from perihelion. Insiders murmur trajectory whispers. Subtle shifts in conjunction glare. Degrees off predictive arcs. Blamed on outgassing, but smelling like control. Fleets stir in the witching hour. Norfolk's Aegis destroyers cut lines. Pearl Harbor subs slip pens. Cruisers with BMD batteries form phalanxes. Not exercise grids. Satellite spotters. Hobbyists with off-shelf bins. Track the anomalies. Vessels netting Pacific expanses. Sonar buoys seeding like mines. Why lead with blue water warriors, not rocket riders? Leaks hint at the hums. If Atlas interfaces oceans. Those resonances suggesting subsurface play. Navies the tip of the spear. Wargame snippets surface on veteran forums. Scenarios from observe and report to kinetic intercept, all circling entry contingencies. Atmosphere breach or abyssal plunge, with phrases like submersible vector, inked bold. No evac sirens, but the machine hums. Intel sats retask, EW birds loiter high. Coastal shadows lengthen. Virginia bases glow unnatural at midnight. Unexplained booms rolling from surf. Families near San Diego report harbor lockdowns. Fishing charters turn back with shrugs. It's the quiet storm. Admirals in sweatsuits pouring models, plotting if it slows to skim or dives to probe. Quantico looms like Judgment Day. Stars aligning not just in sky, but strategy rooms. And as doors seal on that Virginia base, the question echoes. Prep for pass or parry for punch? Parry's the word in the depths, where Navy's netting a web no one's admitting. Recalibrations hit hydronets, Sosis descendants, strung across trenches like forgotten veins, tuned razor sharp for Atlas's baseline thrum. Ohio-class ghosts prowl choke points. Atlantic narrows, Pacific gyres, depths where light quits and pressure crushes steel. Carriers morph hubs, helos shuttling cryptologists, radar domes sweeping horizons. Civilian bands lock, iridium flares, merchant chatter. While undersea fiber screams data to Tampa's SOCOM, unofficial, Tier 1 posture. The red stamp for world enders. Sparks, dual, conjunction nudges, models fracturing on intentional delta V, and echo amps, pulses swelling like breath held. Analysts in dim-lit vans float the fringe, descent for harvest, water, metals, or recon dip, sampling our blue marble. Sounds sci-fi, explains the traps. Acoustic fences, silent sentries for splashdown whispers. Shoreside, it's bleeding real. Norfolk welders clock OT on sub-refits. Hawaii tour boats skirt restricted zones with vague Coast Guard nods. Grocery aisles in base towns empty salt and batteries. TikToks capture offshore flares. UFO hunt. No mass flight, but the vibe's electric. Waves lapping normal, but undercurrents churning dread. It's the unseen siege. Skippers scanning sonars for ghosts. Text tracing if Skysong stirs sea songs. And if Atlas bridges realms, our waters might be the arena, turning cosmic crews to submerged showdown. Because while depths guard secrets, surfaces can't hold the heat forever. Surfaces? They're boiling over in DC and beyond. Leaks crest briefing rooms. Senators from both aisles hammer classified pods. Comet or construct? Spill it. White House vectors vague. Monitoring proceeds. Public safety assured. But the veil thins. Trump at a heartland roar. Atlas. Roswell on steroids. They're bearing the star truth again. Clips cascade. Merch spikes with Atlas Watch tease. Musk stokes via X. Approach interferences? Trajectory hints at smarts. Deleted in minutes, but archives eternal, spawning probe-confirmed chains. Streets digitalize frenzy. YouTube vigils draw tens of millions. Amateurs lasering skies for green ghosts. Live chats ablaze. Mom ship inbound versus Doomsday Rock versus Rapture Ride. Pastors pulpit omens from Revelation. Quants crunch panics market bite. Dips in shipping, surges in gold. Media forks, CNN frames. Enigmatic escort, soft pedaling. Fox amplifies strategic specter, quoting Phantom DOD. Not random. Coasts pulse personal. Virginia vets swap drill tails at diners. Cali surfers dodge buoy blooms, posting Navy's hiding squid alien pacts. It's schism supreme. Starstruck seekers versus eye-rolling empirics. But the core quake. Post-conjunction previews. Arc bends faint. Sims spiraling. Not collision, but courtship. Poles peak as fleets flex, but the thunder's public pulse, demanding dawn on the dark. Because when eyes lift universal, truths tumble hard. Truths tumble harder post-strike. That September 26th solar sucker punch etching history. Suns in maximum frenzy. Cycle 25 peaking wild. Flares routine, but this CME king-sized plasma crown aimed true. Comets crumble in such barrages. Recall McNaught's 2007 shred, but Atlas. Titan tough, mass buffering the blaze. Post-glare peaks tease turmoil. Glow surges, tail twists, path wavers whisper thin. Blind spot ends, scope strain. Did it fracture, fuse, or finesse? Mars awaits October 3rd. Recon Orbiter's high-rise lens at 30 kilometers per pixel. Our money shot. Lobe escalates. Survives intact. Artificial meter jumps to 6 inches. X erupts. Hoax hollows of descent. Channelers claiming Pleiadian peace. Elon quipping, finally, house guests with thrust. Government's granite. Nominal trajectory. Enhanced visibility ahead. But the wild card spins wheels. Fragment fields. Brighter blaze. Or course correct mocking model. It's the pivot. From watcher to watched, flyby to flirt. And as pixels sharpen on Martian red, the enigma sharpens too. Will it graze unscathed, align impossibly, or unveil? Now let's peel back another layer on those elusive signals, because the pulses aren't just background noise. They're the heartbeat of this whole saga, throbbing in ways that make even the most jaded scientists pause mid-equation. Picture this. As Atlas hurtles inward, its infrared emissions don't flicker like a dying bulb. They pulse with a cadence that's almost musical, intervals laced with primes that SETI dreamers have etched into their search algorithms for decades. It's not random cosmic static, folks. It's patterned, deliberate, like fingers tapping Morse on a galactic drum. And when those waves hit Earth's oceans, triggering those synchronized hums in the deep, it's as if the object is strumming our planet like a guitar string, testing resonance across impossible distances. Reports from anonymous oceanographers, whispered in late-night Zoom calls that leaked to podcast circuits, describe how these frequencies align not just with water columns, but with tectonic plates, subtle vibrations that could, in theory, map subsurface structures without ever touching down. Imagine the implications. A scout from the stars, not crashing through atmosphere, but whispering through waves, cataloging our world's hidden veins from afar. Avi Loeb doesn't stop at his scale rating. In a recent interview buried in an obscure astrobiology journal, he muses that if these signals carry encoded data, perhaps modulated amplitudes hiding binary streams, it could be the first whisper of post-biological intelligence. Machines outlasting their makers, drifting the voids in search of echoes. Online, the decoding frenzy reaches fever pitch. Hobbyist coders in basements run Fourier transforms on the audio rips, claiming bursts of fractal geometry that mirror ancient crop circle designs, while others overlay the pulses with Schumann resonances. Earth's own electromagnetic hum suggesting a harmonic lock-on that's anything but accidental. NASA's stonewalling only fans the flames. Official denials of interference patterns ring hollow when independent arrays in Australia and South Africa corroborate the sync. Their data shared in open source repos that rack downloads by the million. Why the blackout on full spectra? Why the hurried consultations with quantum computing firms rumored to crunch signal noise for buried messages? It's the kind of cover that breeds doubt, turning a scientific curiosity into a shadow play where every glitch feels like a clue. And as these beats quicken toward perihelion, one can't shake the chill. If Atlas is broadcasting, who's receiving? Us or something listening from the other side? Diving even further into the military's shadowed playbook, the Quantico Summit isn't just a gathering. It's a fortress of foresight, where the ghosts of Cold War contingencies clash with 21st century dread in rooms lined with holographic projections of orbital arcs and subsurface grids. Hegseth's order didn't come from thin air. It's the culmination of weeks of escalating alerts, starting with those first oceanic echoes that pinged submarine command like unwanted sonar pings from a stealthy foe. Insiders, speaking in coded bursts to sympathetic journalists over encrypted lines, paint a picture of marathon sessions where admirals and astrophysicists huddle over classified feeds, debating not if Atlas maneuvers but how, Delta V budgets that defy ice sublimation, course corrections masked as gravitational assists but too crisp for chaos, the protocols invoked, their relics dusted off from Reagan-era vaults, Project Sentinel variants that outline everything from passive surveillance via drone swarms to active denial with directed energy beams, all calibrated for objects that blur the line between natural and engineered. Picture the War Room vibe, screens flickering with real-time sims where Atlas dips into the magnetosphere, inducing auroral storms that could black out grids, or fractures mid-plunge, seeding micrometeors laced with exotic isotopes. No doomsday preps, they insist, but the reallocations tell tales. Billions quietly shifted from routine budgets to enhanced monitoring, with Virginia shipyards churning out modular sonar pods faster than specs allow. Coastal communities feel the ripple without the roar. Unexplained NOTAMs grounding flights over key straits. Fishing fleets herded from prime grounds under environmental surveys. And a spike in amateur radio chatter about jammed HF bands during pulse peaks. It's the art of preparation without proclamation. A chess game against an opponent whose moves we glimpse only in hindsight. Veterans on closed Discord servers swap stories of similar shadows during Oumuamua's pass, when black budget telescopes swiveled in secret, but this feels amplified, urgent, as if the brass senses a threshold crossed. Not just a flyby, but a threshold probe testing our defenses before the main event. And with Space Force reps at the table, eyes on the exosphere, the net widens. Is it skies or seas, or a feint to both? The summit's sealed lips only amplify the hum, a collective held breath as October looms. But perhaps the most gripping thread weaves through the human tapestry, where everyday folks morph into unwitting sentinels, their smartphones and scopes stitching a grassroots panopticon that rivals any orbital array. From Brooklyn balconies to Outback outposts, the Atlas Watch blooms into a global vigil, TikToks timestamped with timestamped sky sweeps, capturing fleeting greens that vanish on zoom, while Reddit's r/Atlas anomaly swells to 7 figures, threads dissecting every pixel for proof of propulsion, plumes, or cloaked companions trailing in formation. Families in Florida, where Navy blips offshore cast long shadows on beach bonfires, trade tales of low rumbles that sync with phone apps tracking the object's arc, turning summer nights into stargazing salons laced with half jokes about packing go bags. In Europe, amateur radio leagues form nets dedicated to signal hunts, their logs brimming with spike reports that align eerily with Webb's blackout windows, fueling theories of jammed transmissions to hide reply pings. It's democracy in dread, a single mom's viral thread on maternal forums about teaching kids star safety drills skyrockets, blending prepper tips with pleas for transparency, while artists drop NFT drops of imagined Atlas artifacts, proceeds funneled to indie scope funds. The divide deepens divides. Tech bros in Silicon Valley mock it as hype fodder for their AI sims predicting benign passes, yet quietly seed venture cash into private recon sats, while Heartland holdouts, echoing Trump's barbs, rally with Unveil Atlas yard signs that sprout like weeds. Religious ripples run deep too. Synagogues debate if it's the Star of Jacob reversed. Mosques murmur of jinn in the void. And New Age circles channel elder race envoys in guided meditations that pull thousands live. Economists fret the flutter. Stock dips in aerospace rivals to SpaceX. Booms in telescope sales. But the real currency is connection. Strangers bonding over shared stares at the same speck, pondering if this speck ponders back. It's the spark that could ignite unity or unravel it, a mirror to our moment, connected yet cloistered, curious yet cautious. As the Mars snap nears, this human hive hums louder than any hydrophone, demanding not just data, but dialogue with the stars, or at least each other. Unveiling's the thread. From July spark to solar scar, Atlas amasses the absurd. Anti-glow defiance, alloy anthems, oceanic overtures, brass ballets, depth dances, public pyres, flare furies, billion-ton behemoth, signal slinger, path plotter, NASA nods natural, but anomalies avalanche. Why this epic? Our signal-saturated span? Why our ecliptic embrace? This pulsed plea? Debris dirge from dead suns, or sentinel scan from sentient seas? October's orb snaps say, but silence screams. It's seen our stare, and perhaps stares sharper. Knock if you hear it. Comments crave your cosmic call, like if stars shifted your sleep. Sub for snap revelations. Alone or answered? The void waits, whispering back.